Welcome back to Let's Talk It Out with Miss Olmos. I have really enjoyed each of the episodes and the opportunity to get to know more of each of our guests. There are many times that I've made assumptions through small encounters and through conversation. You just learn so much more about people. So I'm so excited for you to meet our next guest. She is our speech pathologist and she truly is so great. I like to call her my special education expert, and I'm so thankful that she shares her knowledge with me, and I'm just so excited for you to get to know her a little more. Hi, Miss Beatty.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Hello. I'm so glad you're here. You doing okay?
I'm good. The
Weather's nice.
The weather's beautiful. I'm hot, and I love being hot, so it was cold yesterday.
Panhandle weather.
Yes.
Panhandle weather. It's almost summer.
I'm ready for it.
I don't have a countdown, but I think I heard, what are we at, 20?
I don't have the countdown either. 20-ish.
Yeah, 20-ish. Close enough.
Yep.
Close enough. I'm just so thrilled that you are here with me today. You're dear to my heart. And honestly, when I was doing my agenda, I was like, there's so much that I don't know about you.
It's true.
I know about you, but there's also so much that I don't know. So I'm so excited for us to have some real time.
Me too.
I want you to be comfortable. I want this to be fun. Anything I don't want to answer, you're like, pass. I don't have a button, but just
perfect.
We will pass it.
Perfect.
Okay. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in Amarillo, but born and raised here my whole life. So born and raised here my whole life. Went to school here, graduated from here, left after graduation just for college, lived out of here for a little while, and came back about 10 years ago, because I was pregnant with Bryn when I moved back. So that helps me remember how long ago.
So Spearman is your home.
Spearman is home.
Spearman is home.
Mm-hmm.
You have a brother.
Mm-hmm.
Dane. I know Dane.
Yes.
I graduated with Dane.
Yes.
Just two of you.
Yes.
Just two of you.
Mm-hmm.
And your mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about childhood, Macy.
Mm-hmm.
You grew up on a farm or just out in the country? Is it
both, on the farm and out in the country. Mm-hmm. So farm girl living, farm girl working. I learned how to drive when I was 8-ish. I learned how to drive a tractor when I was probably about that old too. I plowed all summer. I thought it was so boring. I knew every word to every radio song because that's what I did all summer. And they would come on repeat, 8 times a day, the popular ones. And rode horses growing up and had to help my dad move cattle and brand cattle and all the things.
Farm.
Yeah.
I would love to ride a horse one day. You'll have to teach me.
Yeah.
That's
kind of
cool.
like when they say it's just like riding a bike. It's the same thing. I haven't ridden a horse in a while, but if I get back on, it's like riding a horse. So same thing.
That's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
So what was your favorite thing about living on a farm?
Probably when my friends would come out, my mom would kick us out of the house and be like, go outside and play. Kind of like I feel like with my kids sometimes on nice days, like, get out of my hair, go out. And we would just explore. There was a old house across like 100 yards away from mine. It was actually the house that my grandparents' parents built like there. And so even my parents lived there for just a little while. And we called it Roger's house because it was like a guy that lived there for a little while. And we would climb up on the roof and we would spend hours on Roger's house roof and picnic up there and take stuff up there and play. And it was just like Adventure City out on the farm. So
that kind of takes me back to a movie. Like, childhood, like, I mean, when you hear about memes about kids growing up in the 90s and stuff,
yes.
That describes it to a T.
I can text my friend, and if we bring up Roger's house, we go right back, and that's what we were doing. We played on Roger's house, and it was on the roof and climbed up, and it was like avoid the hole because the roof was caving in on one side. So it was, not the safest, but it was, we played on Roger's house when she came over like every time. So
how fun.
It was fun.
Is it still there?
My dad burned it down just a couple years ago. It was getting to the very unsafe stage, and he burned it down. He thought he knew what he was doing. I guess he did. It worked out safe enough, but the fire department definitely did see it far enough and come to check, but it was safe-ish. But he burned it down just a couple of years ago. So
still there, Brendan Wheeler did see stories or hear stories?
Yes. I don't know if they've heard enough stories. I feel like I should start telling them more, but yeah.
They knew about Rogers House.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool. What was your least favorite thing about it?
Driving to town all the time. So there would be even Sundays after church. I know that like when we were especially older and had practices for stuff, we would sometimes bring 3 cars to church because my dad would need to get back for work, after, and then maybe Dane and I had different practices at different times where Mom would have him and then I would have something else. So we would sometimes bring 3 cars on Sundays because we'd have just all different activities, or if you had an hour after school before something else started, it just always felt like you could never just relax. And so even sometimes Kevin's like, we need to live in the country. And I'm like, you will never convince me. So I loved my adventures, but not enough that I want to spend that much time.
How far out was that?
16 miles. So it was about 20 minutes. And so too far to go back and forth. And so we always had a bag packed in the car with extra clothes. And so.
Did you ever like go to the grocery store and then forget something and then be like, it's not worth it?
Well, my granddad lived 100 yards away. So there was lots of times where my mom would send us over, go see if he has an egg, go see if he has sugar, that kind of stuff. So, and other than that, you just changed your meal so if you really needed it and no one had it. So yes.
Well, I could definitely see the pros of being on a farm, but the distance would definitely be something to think through. On the things you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Let's talk about your parents a little bit, because you talk to me about your parents often.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about how your parents raised you and Dane, what are some of the characteristics about them that you want to bring in, you've either brought in or want to bring into your own parenting styles?
I think being raised on the farm, it was easy because there was always work to be done. So I want my kids to be hard workers. And so like if we ever, like saying the word bored was almost a bad word at our house. Like if we said we were bored, it was like, oh, I'll find something for you to do. So, and I know one time I don't even know how old, somewhere between 8 and 10-ish. And I said something about being bored, and my dad sent me out to clean the barn. And I mean, it was a barn. It was a regular size, huge barn. And it's like there was no way it could be cleaned. It had been there for 100 years. And my granddad felt bad for me, so he came and helped. But he paid me at the end of it too, because he felt real bad for me. But it was like, you will not say you're bored, and it was like I learned my lesson. I would find something to do, or certainly not show it if I was bored. So even like last year, Bryn kind of wanted to have a little job, and just, I'm like, there's always ways if you want something, or when they start asking for a toy or whatever, it's like, well, then we can find ways to earn money for it, but I want them to be hard workers and know there's always stuff to be done, so we can find ways for you to earn it, but just you can work for it. So I want them to be hard workers. And then also I think my mom is, both my parents instilled us going to church and God being a big part of our lives, and being the main part of our lives and putting him first. And then also my dad definitely not taking life too seriously. So my dad's got a funny sense of humor. So he's always, I feel like even when things get too seriously, my whole life, I've always got to end it with a joke or make someone laugh, because he's always done that for me. I know growing up, whenever I would do sports, we would usually meet the bus early in the morning if we left for cross country, because if they were headed that direction, we would meet the bus instead of them bring me to town and then leave. And so when I got older, I usually asked for my dad to be the one to take me to meet the bus, because he would just be joking with me the whole morning and take my mind off of it. So it wouldn't make me nervous. So keeping things light, all of those things, I think. So
I love all 3 of those. I mean, you sum it up to hardworking, God being the center of your life, and not taking life too seriously. I mean, I love all 3 of those.
Yeah, I guess so. That's right. I like how you summarized that.
That is so powerful. That is really so powerful. Into being a parent, I'm just thinking about when you think about those 3 things, good things, but like as a parent, they're hard things to teach.
Hard.
When you live in a world where maybe their friends maybe not be in the same, their parents might parent differently.
Yes.
And so that can be hard. And so the fact that your parents have passed that down to you,
Yes.
super powerful.
Very. And it is, like you said, it is hard to teach those and actually incorporate them. Like you have to be so intentional sometimes to actually make those things happen. It's hard. It's hard. So.
It is hard. You told me not too long ago the girls were in a championship tournament. They were doing well. Game on a Sunday.
Yes.
In church.
Yes.
You know, those are the decision as a parent. You know the right thing is like go to church, but then you have the pressures of the world.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And to say yes to self. Yes. Kudos to you and Kevin.
Oh, thank you.
Great parents. And then kudos to your parents.
Yes, I agree. I'm so grateful they instilled a lot of those things and just and I'm thankful that I do have Kevin and we fall on the same page of just supporting and trying. We certainly make plenty of mistakes along the way, but trying to instill those things in our kids too. So, trying.
Y'all are done wonderful. Let's talk about Mr. Kevin.
Yes.
How did y'all meet?
I think we've always known each other. We started dating when we were in high school. I was 15. I was a freshman. And so I'm sure we've always known each other before that. But I remember my mom asked me my freshman year, she's like, if you could go to homecoming with anybody, who would it be? And I think I answered a couple people, but then I said, or of course, Kevin Beatty. And she, which we didn't go to homecoming together because we started dating a little later, but he was my of course answer. So I think that's kind of funny to think back on. And so, yeah, we started, this is like old school, we started chatting on ICQ, which was like the chat of back then, the AOL kind of thing. And then we had the online dial-up computer in our house that stayed in our laundry room, which was far away from my bedroom. So we would keep the volume turned all the way up on my computer. So if I would hear it ding, it would be like run across the house, kind of thing. So, but that's how we spent most of our time getting to know each other. The first, it was like my freshman year, the first semester has been a lot of time chatting online. So, and then it was finally worked up the nerve to, I don't even know. I doubt it was, do you want to date? I bet it was something a lot more high schoolish than that, but I don't even remember. So yeah, that's how we started kind of.
Dated all through high school?
Dated all through high school.
Did y'all go to same college?
We went to the same college. He graduated. I was, so he's 2 years older than me. And he went to Adeline Christian, and then I also went there a couple of years later. So we dated the whole time. I think we broke up once for about 4 hours, and then that was about it. So,
but they were long 4 hours.
It was a long 4 hours, like in the middle of the night, one of those that I had to go wake up my mom, and that was about it. So, and it was about April of right before I graduated. So I was like, we were so close to making it, and then one of those, it was long distance is hard. So, even in high school when you're like, it's just high school love. Well, it felt like more than that then too. So, but long distance is hard. And anyway, we figured it out. So yeah, always.
I love love stories.
I do too.
How long have you been together?
Oh, gosh, so I have to do math always. So when I was 15 and I'm 38 now, so 25, 35, so 23 years. Yep.
What a gift.
Of my life. Yes, it is.
What a gift.
It is.
When you put it in that perspective, Miguel and I'm like, we spent this many birthdays together.
Yes.
Or, when you think back. And now as a parent.
Yes.
Or even an aunt with my nieces, when they're like, well, I want to start dating. I'm like, no, you don't.
I know. That's what I think, especially with my niece who's a freshman now. I'm always like, her boyfriends, it's like, oh, it could be nothing, or it could be very serious. Or it makes me nervous. Yeah. So, yes, thinking on the adult perspective of it. So, it's different.
Do you have a funny dating story that y'all talk about? Or that y'all remember, or?
Yes. Okay. So one of our first kind of dates in high school, we went bowling, and we went bowling with two friends, just one of his friends and one of mine. And, I beat him, and he was so mad. And yeah, he was mad. It kind of ruined his evening, and I thought it was so funny. So we all rubbed it in because he's just very competitive, and I am, but not really. And so not when it comes to stuff that I don't care about, like bowling. And so I beat him, and I loved it, and he did not, and that was one of our first dates. And so, yeah, me and all of our two friends were rubbing it in all night long, and I loved it so much.
And 23 years later, you can still rub it in.
I know. And if I beat him today, I'd rub it in just as much, and it'd probably still make him just as mad.
So, you gotta love that in marriage.
Yes.
I love that. When you think about high school Macy, how is she different from Macy today?
She was quite a bit different from Macy today. She was, I feel like the same person on the inside, but not on the outside. So I feel like I was pretty quiet and reserved. I definitely, when I went to college, I felt like I wanted to make friends and I wanted to all these things, but I felt like I knew I had to put myself out there. I was pretty introverted in high school-ish. And so I felt like now it's not hard for me to be extroverted or outgoing, but that was not high school Macy. And so I've always been the same person on the inside, but when I went to college, I knew it would be an effort for me to put myself out there. And so I really just made myself, and I kind of did that fake it till you make it thing. I'm like, no one knows me here, so no one would know if I'm quiet. No one knows that that's me. So I might as well put my inside self out for everyone else to see and just kind of create a new person, more or less. Just be my real self, but to show everyone else what that is too, just to kind of, because otherwise I really was worried I would have zero friends in college, because I'm like, otherwise no one will actually know me, and I have a very good chance of staying in my dorm room and not doing anything because I'm completely content just hanging out and watching TV and doing nothing. But I'm like, but I actually don't want that for myself. I want to go out and do and be. And so after I kind of did that for a while, it became a little more natural and easy to just keep putting myself out there. And then that kind of became the new me a little bit, but I really feel like that was always me on the inside, but I kind of had to make an effort to be that person a little bit. So
I'm glad that you had that life opportunity and that you took the step to say, I could keep it the same.
Yes.
Or I could take the risk and just be involved in like just community.
Yes. Well, it was weird. I tried out for cheerleader my junior year, and I didn't make it my junior year. And I think that was here in Spearman, in high school. And I think that was really such a great opportunity for me. Of course, you don't feel it at the time when you're sad, but that was what was very eye-opening to me. My mom had a hard conversation, and she just said, really, she said, you're just very withdrawn into yourself. And she said that people, your friends don't see you anymore. She said, you hang out with Kevin all the time. And because that's who you want to hang out with. And she said, and that is absolutely fine. But if you want to be that person, then you have to be that person. So, because she said they're not hanging out with you and seeing you. So it was like, and I made that decision. It was like, that's fair and that's true. So if I want to change that in the future, then it's my choice that I have to change it. So so that was a good, like, hard truth conversation that I needed. So it was good. It was good for me. Mm-hmm.
And to be able to look back at life, because in that moment it doesn't feel that way.
Right.
When teenagers are going through things,
right.
But looking back and thinking about those kind of things in our lives.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Let's talk about Miss Bryn and Mr. Wheeler for a little bit.
Yes.
Did you guys always know you just wanted 2 kids?
Yes.
Yes. You were like
2.
You were on the same page too?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yay.
I think I maybe thought 3 before we ever had kids, and once we had 1, it was like, no, 2. So that's it.
2 is a great number. Yes. It is a great number. I love both of them. Yes. How do you describe each of your kids?
Bryn she is just herself. She is creative and imaginative, and she loves crafts, and still for right now, and I hope she stays this way, but she enjoys doing what she enjoys doing, and she doesn't really seem to care that sometimes, like, I'll say, would you like to do this? And she's like, yes, or no, but she doesn't really ask, well, are my friends doing this? For me to sign her up for whatever or not. And so she wants to be signed up or not, but that's just because that's what she wants to do. And so, so she's just herself. And so I love that about her. So, and then Wheeler is just the opposite in like every way. He is himself too, but he is loud and obnoxious. He's really not those things at school. He's reserved and more quiet at school, but at home he is the like class clown, make everyone laugh, tell jokes all the time, and just goofy, but he's so lovey and cuddly. And I saw the cutest little post not long ago on like Facebook or something. It said, this is 8 and he's 7, but it described like a little boy so perfectly at his age. And it's like, not old enough to be a tween yet, but still wants to cuddle and sit in your lap all the time. And it's like at home, that is so him. But at school, sometimes he's just like, he's the last one to want to see me, but then at home, he just wants to cuddle every morning and still sit in my lap and that kind of stuff. So yeah, they were picked just for me. And I'm so glad they were picked for my family here on Earth. So.
I love both of them. What is your hope for them as they grow older?
My hope for them is that they just stay confident in who they are and stay happy with who they are and not really look to the world for their answers and look to, yes, I know, like that's the hardest thing. It's like, it sounds easy, but it is so not easy. So, just to keep being, like I think that's where Bryn's at now, mostly of not really caring sometimes what other people think. And it's like, oh, that just gets harder when you get older though. So it's like, oh, keep being that and just kind of find their path, and whatever that is fine as long as they feel confident and purposeful in it. And that's what I want for them. So,
well, with the 3 foundations that you have of God in the center, hard work, and not taking life too seriously, they're going to beyond you all of that. Aside from being a mom, wife, daughter, aunt, all of the things, you're an amazing speech pathologist. How did you choose your career?
My granny, my mom's mom. I think my mom had something to do with it too, but I think she probably kind of put it on my granny because during high school, you tend to not listen to your mom quite as much. So I'd always wanted to be a teacher my whole life. All through elementary, every grade I was in, I thought, oh, this is the grade I want to teach. And then the next grade, oh, this is it. Till I got to junior high, I never wanted to teach junior high. And then when I was in high school, I still wanted to be a teacher. And then my granny had been a teacher for 28 years or something like that. She taught mostly first grade. And then she said, I would love, I think you'd be a great teacher. But she said, would you ever think about specializing in something in this school? And so it's like, well, I have no idea what you're talking about. So they talked to me about going into counseling or just exploring different specialty things, but still being in the school. And so that's when kind of talked to me about speech therapy, which I'd never heard of. And that's how I ended up on that route, which really, I think all of that was really plugged in through my mom to my granny to talk to me about it. But it's
strategy,
strategy, mom strategy for sure. But I listened to it probably better through my granny at the time than my mom. So yes, that's how it came about.
I love that. What do you feel like is most challenging about your career?
That's a hard question. I love my job. But I do feel like sometimes just the kids that stay puzzles to me for a long time, or I feel like I try lots of different things and I just can't fix it. It makes me sad. It makes me, and I have to try to remind myself sometimes I'm not meant to fix it, or God made them how he did for a reason. But sometimes it still breaks my heart. And I think that's what'll keep me up at night. So, but even if I can remind myself that and know that in my heart of hearts, this isn't something that I as a person can fix, still doesn't make it easier. So,
well, I am a witness that the way you love kids and the way you're just so devoted, you're an advocate for them. I love that. I love that you do that for our kids on our campus and even kids who are not on our campus. But I said in the introductions, you are a special education expert. I'm so thankful to have you because something comes up. I'm like, I don't know, ask Miss Beatty. Special education, ask Miss Beatty. And if you don't know, you find out. And so, man, GPE is just so blessed to have you here as our speech pathologist. Earlier, you were talking about college and maybe I feel like I heard you say you kind of transitioned from maybe being an introvert to a little more of an extrovert. You've talked to me about how important community is to you. That you love, whether it's at church, whether it's here. You think community is important.
Mm-hmm.
What impacts have you seen, like having a community in your life has had in your life?
It honestly just lifts my spirit when I'm around people. So I can always feel whenever I haven't been around, not just people, like if I was at a fair where I didn't know anybody, that wouldn't affect my mood or anything, but like my people, like if I'm around my people, it like lifts my spirit. So my community is huge to me. And I talk about this to Kevin sometimes. I'm like, I feel like I have like 4 different groups of people. So I'm like, but I need them all for different reasons. And so it's like depending on what's going on, it's like maybe I want to go talk to my mom group about something, or if it's something with my kids, or if it's something going on in my life that's heavy, I need to go talk to my Jesus people, So I'm like, my mom group is also my Jesus people, but it's like for different reasons, I need to go talk to my Jesus people. Or if it's my, sometimes I just need a good laugh, and I call my childhood best friend because she will make me laugh till I cry. I'm like, for different reasons, I need my different groups, but it's like, but I always need my groups. So, and if I know if I'm in a funk, then I probably need to go have a girls' night or lunch with a friend. And, like I need people. And I know that's what our preacher teaches about a lot. Like God created us as relational people. And then I'm like, whenever he talks about that, the more he's talked about it, I'm like, well, I believe that with my whole heart, because that's when I can tell when I haven't been around my people as much. I'm like, oh, I miss my people. So, and they fill my cup. So.
And it's important to recognize that sometimes, right? Because sometimes we think that we have to go through certain things alone. I love that you say that you have a group of people for certain reasons, because different situations may call for different people, like whether somebody's just sit and listen, or I don't know, for different, but to have that gauge of, hey, I think it's time. I think it's time for us to get together.
Yes, exactly.
I'll say I'm not great about having community, but to hear how it impacts other people inspires me to create those communities. What are Miss Beatty's favorite hobbies?
Oh, reading. I love to read. I love to bake. I want to say work out, but I don't know if it's a hobby that I love, or just know I have to always make myself kind of do. So it's both. I think those are my top ones. Oh, I say yard work. I would say yard work too. So yeah. Okay. I don't know if I love yard work or I just love having a pretty yard.
I love to mow.
Yeah.
Like it's time to mow. Like I volunteer. I'll put headphones on. No one bother me.
Kevin won't let me touch his yard, no? No, I'm not allowed. But I'll do the flowers and stuff. So
cool. Well, I can't say I'm a reader.
No, I know, and I can't believe it. I love to read.
I should. I used to not be. If I sent you a picture of my nightstand now, you would be surprised. It was used to be a joke between Miss Becca and I all the time, because she reads all the time, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to read for fun. Don't tell my students. No. But now I do. Now I it's more of like the life inspirational book, but better than not reading at all. What does a typical weekend look like in the life of the Beattys?
It depends on the season. I love a Saturday morning at home. I say sleeping in is one of my love languages. It's not actually love languages, but it should be, because if I am missing that, then you can tell in my soul. So, but I love a slow Saturday morning at home. And then if it's like summer weather, like we will spend the day doing yard work and then cooking out Saturday night and something like that. But I have to say, I think I take those for granted, because like during the busy season of like sports and stuff like that, we don't have a lot of Saturdays at home. So I love those. Sundays are church, and then slow Sunday afternoons usually. And then Bryn usually has gymnastics on later Sunday afternoons too. So, and then we're getting ready for starting the week over. But, yeah, if I can have my Saturday morning at home, when Kevin's not like working on Saturdays too, he'll usually be the one to make breakfast. So I love that. If I can sleep in and wake up and he's made breakfast, it's like ideal in our house. So
I can relate to a lot of that. And sometimes when I talk about sleeping in, I'm not even talking like late. Sometimes it's just an extra 30.
oh yes,
And not to like wake up and go,
yes.
to wake up and be like, oh, the kids are still
Yes.
asleep.
Yes.
I can go get coffee
I know.
or
And just
just
to move
sit
to
there.
the couch with my coffee for another 30 minutes. I know, just a slow Saturday morning is kind of dreamy. So,
But I agree, sometimes in seasons they don't come often. Basketball season, it's like those Saturdays don't come often.
Looking at the calendar and thinking in 4 more weeks and but I can sleep in again, and that's kind of depressing sometimes.
I can definitely relate to that. What would you do if you won the lottery?
Oh, these are just lame. I'm so lame with money stuff. I'm like,
No
save it. Like, pay off stuff.
I think that says you're married to an accountant.
It's exactly what it says. Every time I mention something about winning the lottery, he's like, do you know how much tax we owe on that or something like that? I'm like, don't be lame. But then that's exactly what my answer should be too, is something lame. So I'm like, would it be so nice to save it and mostly pay off stuff? That's what would be nice to do. So yeah, like maybe he could get a new pickup, but basically pay off stuff. So
that screams being paid to somebody in the accounting world.
It does.
I
That's
love
what
it.
it screams. Yep,
I love
does.
it. What is something most people would be surprised to know about you?
I feel like maybe just that I kind of already answered this question earlier. Maybe just that I was, knowing me now, that I was kind of quieter in high school or more reserved as a kid. So I don't know if a lot of people did know me then, know me now too. But if they didn't know me then, just to know me now, to even know, like, I would have never thought you were.
And that is super important, because when you live in a small town and you graduate with people and either people leave, come back, you eventually are parents with people who,
yes,
you went to school with. And it's so important to remember we're different.
Yes.
Because a lot of times you hear like, oh, I graduated with them, or
right,
or just really internally, you're really still remembering them how they were in high school.
Yes, very much.
You're making a connection based on the experiences you had when you were in high school and again in a small town growing up. So it is important to remember.
Very much, yes.
You grow out of seasons, and
very much
life just makes you different.
Yes, so. Very much.
I think you kind of answered this earlier, talking a little bit about the not making it cheerleading earlier. But is there anything else that you had to learn, like kind of in a hard way?
Yes, there have been. Just in different ways, without like saying specifics, just that life is not fair. So, and those lessons come hard. But also, I think that's where my absolute biggest growth has come from as a person. So, I know one time in high school, this was a high school thing again, but like something happened and it felt very unfair. And even looking back on it, I still feel like it was unfair. So it wasn't like, I feel like a high school perspective, but that's okay because it came with a lesson. But I was having a hard time quitting on something, and I finally did, but I didn't want to feel like a quitter because I think that was my hardest thing. And my dad finally said, it's not quitting if you're standing up for yourself. And so I think that's what sometimes hard lessons do come with lessons too. And so sometimes it's just like, life is not fair, and I think sometimes like I want to be a gracious person and give second chances too, but sometimes I think I'm hard on people around me too, and that's just what I want to say too, is especially my kids, is it's not fair, but we'll get through it.
And sometimes you can't see it until you're healing or past it, right?
Yes.
Like in the storm, you can't see it, and then you get past it and you're like, okay, still not fair, but I kind of get it.
Still not fair, and yes, and usually even later you see God's plan and purpose in it. I see why now. I still see that it wasn't fair, but I see your reason for it, and that's okay. So, yes.
Absolutely agree. I asked this question more of a closing question to our guest, and I want to clarify. It's not that I feel like your people are going to die like tomorrow. So I'm gonna say like in 100 years from now, when people think about Macy Beatty, how do you want them to remember you?
I hope I just said this, that I feel like sometimes I have a hard exterior of like, sometimes I feel like I am hard on people to be like, yes, but time to move on. Life's not fair. Time to move on, kind of thing. And I feel like I get impatient with that sometimes. But I hope that they think that I was a person of second chances and third chances and fourth chances and fifth chances and lots of grace, because that's what I want to be. That's what I want people to remember me as, and an encourager. Sometimes I think it doesn't come off that way whenever I get tired of giving second chances, and then I'm like, but come on, we can do it, because now you have to, pull up your bootstraps and go. But then the next day I'm like, but I really think you can,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. So I hope that's what I'm remembered as someone who gave grace and second chances, but hopefully encourage them in getting those next steps into. So hopefully.
The visual I just got when you were talking, it's like you're almost grabbing somebody by their back and you're like, let's go, you can do it. And people need that in their life.
Yes.
Because sometimes we may be too like, okay, just stay. But no, you're gonna be like, let's go. You got it.
Yes, and sometimes I think I lose patience too much and too quickly, but I'm like, I'm sorry, I lost my patience too quickly. But now let's go, and you can do it. So hopefully it comes off nicer, and hopefully the older I get, the wiser I get, and how to keep a little more patience in it too.
Well, you've definitely had the moments in my life where I'm like, no, and you're like, yes. And so whether it's through a text or a hug or just coming by to visit, you've definitely done that in my life. So thank you. All right, I call these rapid fire questions. Some of them I don't feel like you have to think too hard, but you might think otherwise. But here we go. Okay. You've kind of answered this already, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Would you rather read a book or watch a movie?
Read a book.
Read a book. Would you rather go for a walk or go for a run?
Walk.
Go for a walk. Favorite food?
Steak.
I love a good steak. What's your favorite place to get a steak?
Home. Kevin's a good griller.
Ooh, that's a plus.
Yes.
That's a plus. Favorite sport?
I want to say baseball, but I can't tell if it's just because we're in baseball season. But I love baseball. Like, we're going to go to a Rangers game this summer, and that's our vacation plans. And I grew up with watching baseball with my dad, so I just love baseball, like the vibe around baseball. So yes, probably baseball.
If you could instantly master any skill, what would it be? I was gonna say I want to sing. Like, I would love to be a great singer.
You saying that makes me want to say playing the piano. I did take piano lessons for a summer, and I learned how to play hot cross buns, and I forgot it within like a couple of months.
That makes me think of
yes, I know. So yes, I was gonna say crocheting when you initially asked me, because I tried to pick it up this year and I'm super slow, but piano is more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Favorite type of music?
Christian or country. So both. I listen to both, just depending on mood of the moment. So
okay. Favorite Starbucks order?
Cinnamon dolce latte, hot with whipped cream still, but skinny or non-fat milk.
That sounds very Pinteresty.
Oh, it's so yummy. It used to be just like a Christmas special, and then they started having it year-round several years ago. So
I'm going to have to try it.
It's yummy.
I'm going to have to try it. I think you kind of answered this earlier with the favorite sport, but next vacation?
We're going to the Rangers game this summer, so I'm excited. Kevin and I went last year for his 40th birthday, and And so we're like, the kids would love this. We need to bring them. So we're taking the kids this summer and going to a Rangers game, and
How fun.
it's going to be fun. Yes.
Do they have hot dogs like in the movies?
Yes.
Yes.
And that's exactly what I said. I can't wait to get a hot dog with the grilled onions on it, because that's what I had last year when we went, and that's what I had growing up when we went, and they're so good. So
I'm going to say that's going to be an item added to my bucket list.
oh, yes,
One day.
it should.
To a baseball game and just have one of those hot dogs
Mm-hmm.
like they come out in the movies.
Mm-hmm. You should add it to your list.
Miss Beatty, has been so fun talking to you today.
It has been. Thank you for having me.
I admired you before this moment, and I admire you even more now. I really do. I hope that you just continue to be a light in this world,
Thank you.
and I hope to have you back one day.
I know.
I hope you and I was gonna say Kevin, but I call him Beatty because Miguel calls him Beatty.
I know.
He's always like, I talked to Beatty, or So I hope that one day y'all want to come together, and like I envision having this like couples can you answer question type of series.
Oh yes, we used to
So-
watch the Newlywed Game when we first got
exactly.
married. Yes,
I want to try something like that.
Yes.
So hopefully y'all would be up to coming back together and
Perfect.
us getting to know more about y'all as a couple.
That sounds good.
It's been a great time.
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Mhm.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed yet another episode. I'd love to sit with you and show people a glimpse of your story. You have something special to share. You make this world a better place, and I would love to highlight it. We'll see you around, and don't forget that we love because He loved us first.